Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So previous video lectures was all about database management system and I request everyone to watch those videos where each concept of database management has been explained in detail in 6 videos, 1 hour each. So now we'll be starting a new series on database Python. So what is meant by Python, introduction to Python features and applications, and what is meant by OOPS concept is what we are going to discuss in today's lecture. So next, what is meant by introduction to Python? So let me tell you, this Python is a general purpose interpreted interactive and high level programming language. So let's try to understand each element in detail. So first of all, what is meant by high level programming language? So any programming language which is close to the human language, that means the code lines what you write here is in the form of general human language. In that case, we call that particular language as a high level programming language. And let's see what is meant by interpreted, interactive, object oriented. What is meant by object oriented in the coming slides. Okay, next one. Who has introduced this Python? So there's a man called as Van Rossum who has introduced the Python in 1985 and 90. So this sounds like the Python is not a new language and this has been in existence long back. Then why is that we did not use Python in those days? The reason is very simple. Though the language has been introduced, but the response time of this Python was very large compared to the other language, and there were some few missing few features in some for some applications which the Python has not proved itself, and that's why it has not attained that importance those days. But as the versions kept on increasing, new features has been added and new versions has been introduced each time. Once it has reached 2.0, Python started attaining its importance because it has proved itself in various sectors. And now we are almost using 3.9 version where we are comfortably working on each application using this particular programming language. And the name Python was taken by this man by default, like out of one of his favorite cartoon character. So there's no specific reason why the name Python is given to this programming language. So there are many multinational companies who are using Python programming language, including NASA, Google, YouTube, and BitTorrent, and whatnot, many other industries. So it has proved like the Python programmers has a huge demand nowadays. So what is the reason why it has attained so much of importance in day to day? The first reason is its simple syntax. The syntax is so simple that even a beginner can work comfortably on a Python programming language. Next one is the length of code is very small. So if I'm trying to write 10 lines of code in other programming language, whereas the same work will be done in 2 lines of code in my Python. And next one is the complexity of problems can be handled. Complex problem, like a huge complex problems has been done by or has been clear sorted out by Python in a very easy manner. And this is one more reason why it has attained so much of importance. And apart from this, there are many other features of Python that we'll be discussing in the coming slides. And before that, let me explain one more term that from this particular line, what is meant by interpreter. So I already said this Python is a high level language, but your computers can only execute the programs written in low level language. So what has to be done? The only solution you have is you can convert your high level language into the low level language. So you need to convert your high level language into low level language. Now the question is, who is going to do this conversion process? The conversion is done by either a compiler or an interpreter. So both can handle the task, either compiler or an interpreter. So this Python uses an interpreter. So this interpreter is going to convert the high level language code written by the programmer into the low level language for the execution process. Now, one question might be rising in your mind: what is meant by a compiler and what is meant by an interpreter? What is the difference when both are performing the same task? So, this will be explained in my next video with a very good example, and try to watch the video. So let's proceed. So what are the other features of Python programming language? So apart from the feature that is high level language, we also call it also has a feature of high level interpreter. What is meant by high level interpreter? You know what the interpreter is, fine. Then what is meant by high level interpreter? It has a very good memory management skill. So it would be able to handle the code lines or the data in it in a less memory allocation, which is going to increase the memory efficiency of the memory efficiency conditions. So don't you think it's a good feature? Yes. The next one is about own standard library. So Python has around 200 plus inbuilt standard libraries, and according to your requirement and according to your application that has to be designed, you can import the relevant library and start working on it. Don't you think that it has reduced your work to the half? Exactly. So when these libraries are the main and most important feature of the Python, which has helped in grabbing the market. So next one is about open source software. So you need not pay even a rupee to like install the software. It is readily available for free on internet, and you have different IDEs that are available for the Python language, and that we'll be seeing in the coming videos. What are the different IDEs we have, and which is the most popular IDs being used by the programmers nowadays, that we'll be discussing in the coming video. So next one is about the graphical interface, user interface. So one most important application of Python which is helping is this graphical design of graphical user interface. So next important feature is about platform independence. So the Python can work independently in any platform, call it as a Windows, call it as Linux, call it as Macs, etc. Like how Java is. So Java is also platform independent, right? Same way, your Python is also platform independent, unlike C. So where C is dependent on OS kernel. And next one is it runs on interpreter system, and last one is about no type declaration. Here you need not declare variable data type with respect to its data type. So now let's try to understand the concept, what is meant by object oriented. Like how I've said, I'll be explaining each element in detail. So what is meant by object oriented? So this oops, what I've written here is nothing but object oriented programming. So here your entire programming language, your programming is divided into imperative and declarative. So let me tell you what is this imperative and declarative type. So for example, if you have a task to be performed, and there if you start mentioning what task to be done, and you are also trying to explain how to perform the task. So how many questions you have here? Two questions. The first one, what task to be performed, and how to perform the task. So how you explain this? You explain this in the form of a code line. You explain this in the form of code lines. So if you use code lines and explain what task to be performed and how to perform the task, then that is called as imperative. Then what is meant by declarative? In this declarative type of programming, you are not bothered about explaining how to perform the task. So you are not stressed about explaining how to perform the task. You simply tell what task to be performed, and remaining work will be taken care by the engine. So you just have to say what task to be performed and you need not explain how to perform the task. So this type is called as declarative. So let's focus on only the imperative section over here. So imperative part is divided into two. One is procedural and next one is object oriented type. So what is meant by procedural? The example is C language, where you explain what task to be performed or how to perform the task in the form of functions. Whereas in object-oriented programming, you use objects and classes. Objects and classes. And I'll explain what is this objects and classes in detail with a simple example. So example of this object-oriented programming is Java and Python. So let's try to understand the concept of objects and classes. So when I have a problem to be addressed. When I have a problem to be addressed, that can be taken as a class. And according to the category, so this problem is being segregated into different sections. My huge problem is being segregated. So what is that I'm going to do? I'm using concept of division of labor. So I have a task to be performed, and according to the features of the problems, each feature category will be taken into separate objects. So division of task is being done. So these are called as objects. So let me take an example. For example, there's a car manufacturing company and it is trying to introduce a new model car. So what is it going to do? First step is that it is going to create a blueprint of a car that it is trying to introduce in the market. So what is the blueprint? This blueprint is being done in using a software. So you take a system, just download the software and start designing the car which the company is trying to introduce with all the basic features involved in it. So the basic model or the idea that is being implemented using a software is said to be the class. So you make one thing clear. So this class is not readily available. It is not available in real time. In real time, it is not available, and it is available in the form of a design inside the system. So once the idea is satisfied, once the class is being done, or once the class is designed, what has to be done? Now the real-time implementation has to be taken based on the categories. So what categories a car can have? For example, I'm trying to introduce base variant for the same model, and next variant with some additional features I'll be introducing middle variant, and next I'll be going for high or top end model of the car with the more features involved apart from the base features already involved in the class. And last one, for example, AMT. So these things, what you find here, that is 1, 2 and 3, these subcategories that are being taken are available in real time. So once the company is satisfied with the model design, it starts introducing the cars according to each category in the real-time market. So this real-time implementations are called as objects. It's called as object. So one thing should be kept in mind is the classes are not available in real time, whereas objects are available in real-time implementation. So this is about the object-oriented programming, and this Python uses OOPS concept. So next one is about the last slide of this video lecture is about the applications. So these are the list of applications. Though there are huge number of applications of Python, we have just tried to pull some major applications in this category. The first application is web development. So next one, graphical user interface. In graphical user interface, especially we have to speak about the gaming. Design of games is much easier using Python language. So next one is machine learning and image processing applications. So next is database application, very important. So the data scientists nowadays are preferring Python programming languages for their work. So next one is production ready software development, and last is artificial intelligence. You know how this artificial intelligence is peeping into the present technology. So these are the applications, and don't you think these applications are very high-end applications of the Python? Yes. So hope you got the concept of basic introduction to the Python along with the OOPS concept. So like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. Let's meet in the next video with the concept of what is meant by an interpreter and compiler, along with the difference of Python, C, C++, and Java. Thank you very much.